Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Whiteboard Wednesdays with Vanna. We're really excited to have you today. We're taking a little bit of a step away from the normal DGX and Nvidia compute. And if you recall, very early on in some of our previous episodes, we spoke about the nervous system, right? Or the network that interconnects everything. And we've also spoken about digital twins, or the digital simulation of a physical environment or component or process. So what you might not know is that there's a free tool that Nvidia gives us, which is called Nvidia Air, that if you have the actual networking switches loaded with the Cumulus Linux operating system, you can actually create your own digital twin or simulation of your network environment. And that is really, really powerful. If we start looking at having that simulation and actually having that digital twin of your networking environment, it really allows you to create a whole new way of interacting and managing that environment. So what is the benefit of creating a digital twin of your networking environment? Well, you might be, in day one, as you're expanding, there's a lot of pre-planning that really goes into that work, right? So what you can do is within Nvidia Air, you can actually already start simulating or building that network component out, right? So you can already put your switches in there. Nvidia actually already have them pre-listed depending on their port types or their switch types, the amount of ports that they've got connected to, and effectively you can literally log into those switches as if they physically exist. What this then does is it allows you on day one, while you're still waiting for the supply and the stock to actually arrive, you can already start configuring those switches with the correct configuration and build that network environment in that digital way. What then happens is once you get into that kind of day two area, so the actual switches are now landing in your data center, and you actually have those physical boxes that you can now start connecting up, and they've been wired up and powered up and racked and stacked. What you then do is you export this config file, right? You actually export this and you can directly import all of those configs into each switch. Thereby, instead of now having to go and create those configs, you've already done that. And all of the little errors and bugs that you may have had, you can actually get those out of the way, so that on day one, as they hit the DC, these machines are quickly configured, allowing you to get them operational pretty much within minutes of them actually being powered up. And that is extremely powerful in terms of getting your projects and getting a complex environment such as a network environment up and running much, much faster. Now, the real beauty of this and where true value comes in is ongoing maintenance to this. Because we're using a software defined configuration, we can actually start integrating this into our DevOps or infrastructure ops kind of process. Because we've got this digital kind of version of it, right? We have our CI/CD pipeline, right? Our configuration and distribution pipeline of the actual physical nodes. We can effectively then manage the config of those all the way through in our actual GitLabs or GitHubs that we use to store our configurations. So as conditions change or we need to make changes to the configuration, we can actually see, okay, well, this is the operational side of it through the monitoring that we have. And based on that, we can then go and simulate the changes we need to make in that simulated environment inside Nvidia Air and push those configurations out to our GitLab and effectively take a DevOps workflow process and view in how we manage our networks. And effectively, that's the power of doing a digital twin. It allows us to go and simulate conditions or see what configuration changes are going to make in terms of the real world. We might not always have the ability to set up a physical test lab that mimics the entire network that you have, but we can do it with a digital twin. So Nvidia Air has made this available for free. The tool Nvidia that they've got there, the only thing that you need to have is that the physical switches must be Nvidia ones, so the SN range, and also you need to make sure that you're running Cumulus Linux, which is the operating system that Nvidia's got that actually integrates with Nvidia Air. So really the future of networking and data center operations is going this way in terms of that type of predictability and manageability that we want to have within our areas. And this is a practical application of digital twins within your IT data center. Thank you very much for joining us today on Whiteboard Wednesdays with Vanna. Like to see you soon. Please don't forget to like, share, and follow our LinkedIn page.